About 3 years ago, I made a huge mistake by purchasing a home with a hard money loan, trying to flip it and losing about $20,000. Now, what I learned was definitely valuable, but probably not worth $20,000. Now it's one of the homes I can share with you to never purchase. And I'm gonna tell you about some more homes. And don't worry, I'm not gonna tell you about those homes that have asbestos damage or fire damage or cracks in the foundation where the home's gonna fall over. I think you guys know to not purchase those types of homes. So number one, this first home I'm gonna share with you guys may surprise you because it's the home that everybody wants. But you really shouldn't buy this home for multiple reasons. First and foremost, it's built way too fast with little quality control. These builders go in, they build the thing quickly, get it done. That's their goal. That's what their bosses are telling them to do. It doesn't have as many checks and balances, and it doesn't even offer a warranty. I mean, why wouldn't you offer a warranty on a home that you just built? Well, I'm thinking the reason is because even though it's new, it's used and abused. Do you really want a used and abused home? The first home you're gonna wanna avoid, I'm telling you, don't purchase this, is the model home. So if you go into a nice community, you see that model home, everybody loves it, it's staged so nicely, but the thing is, it's used and abused. Like I said, it's overpriced. It looks a lot better than it is because it's got all that fancy furniture in it. And you know what? If you purchase this home, it may not appraise because it's got so many freaking upgrades in it. You got designer upgrades, you got builder upgrades, you have ceilings that came from God knows where, the builder doesn't offer them. Where do they get these ceilings from? I don't know. So you have all of these upgrades in this model home. I have a buddy right now that's trying to sell a home. Well, he tried to sell it, he couldn't sell it, but he was trying to sell the model home. She overpaid for this thing and 2 years later is not getting her money back. And I know the market's calmed a little bit, but still, she's getting nowhere near where she purchased this thing. And part of the problem is that it was the model home and she overpaid. If you do purchase the model home, just make sure you get the toilets swapped out. Number two, this is a situation my family and I had to encounter because, well, we purchased a home with a lot of, let's call it, unkept neighbors in the area. And by in the area, I mean like on the block. Good old Illinois for ya. We wondered what was going on with them. Like, why didn't they pick their weeds ever? Why didn't they mow their lawn? Why did they let it get up to be a foot? Why was their garage door permanently broken? And then we realized, oh, they don't own their home. Now, I have nothing against renters, but pride of ownership is not gonna be the first thing on their priority list, especially when they come home from a 10-hour workday and they just wanna watch the football game, relax, and they have to pay somebody else's mortgage. Now, not only were the homes unsightly and unkept in this community, but there was also a high turnover rate because leases typically only last 1 year. So if you want any type of stability for you and your family, then you're gonna want to, number two, avoid homes that are near a lot of rentals. And that's not the only way that rentals can affect you. The high number of rentals in a certain area is what actually led to our demise on our flip. Which leads me to a question. Is it a flip after you fix it up, or is it a flip after you sell it? Now, number three, some people might not agree with me because these homes cost a lot less. I've even heard some people relate these homes to appliances because we all know that appliances these days don't work better than they used to back in the day, like in the 90s. Remember those washing machines that would just run forever and ever and ever? Some of you probably still have those washing machines. Some people think that older homes are gonna be built a little bit better than newer homes. But the thing is that homes today are built with different standards than they were built back in the 60s and the 70s. You have updated plumbing code, electrical codes, you have different codes for the actual building of the unit itself. So all of these codes that we have today are to protect the consumer and to actually make homes more energy efficient. So the third home that you should never purchase is one that was built in the 60s and 70s. And I do realize that you're going to be in certain communities that only have homes built in the 60s and 70s, and maybe that's just the norm where you're at, or that's the price point that you're looking at. But if you have the option to purchase a newer home, even built in the 90s or above, I would say go for that home because you're gonna have less updates that you have to do. And when you go to sell that home, let's say in 7 years, they're not gonna ask for everything in the kitchen sink in terms of updating the electrical, plumbing, fixing the drain line that's going out to the street that's not done in the proper material. You know what I'm talking about. You're just gonna run into a ton of problems. Number four, if you're short in stature, this probably isn't gonna affect you. But it's still gonna affect your resale value. Now imagine you're on a hike with some friends, you're going through a cave, you move a rock to find a hidden cavern with a room that has 50-foot ceilings. Now imagine you're climbing some stairs and you head into an airplane. Does the word cramped come to mind? Right now I'm at an open house trying to sell this home with only 8-foot ceilings upstairs. While the entryway is really beautiful with 25-foot ceilings, it does feel a bit cramped up here, and it's been harder and harder to sell these homes that only have 8-foot ceilings, especially 8-foot ceilings upstairs, and especially 8-foot ceilings on the first floor. So the fourth house you want to avoid purchasing is one with low ceilings, because it's going to be a little bit more difficult to sell, and I think a house with higher ceilings is subconsciously going to give you a better life. Okay, so back to my blunderous story, and this is going to be the 5th home that you do not want to purchase. Take it from me, just believe me. So my friends and I should say business partners, purchased a flip, a lot of air quotes going on here. And we were, ready to fix this thing up and sell it. So that's exactly what we did. We put some money into it, put it on the market, had some open houses, had a lot of interest right off the bat. However, there was one problem that we didn't see even coming to the forefront or even being a possibility. And that problem was that we were in what's called an unwarrantable condominium complex. Now, some of you might know what that is and you might be laughing at me, and some of you might be like, well, what the heck does that mean? So allow me to explain what an unwarrantable condo is. So an unwarrantable condo is a condo that cannot be purchased with a conventional loan or with a government-backed loan. So you can't get, your typical conventional FHA, VA loan on it. And the reason for that could be certain things, but the reason for our condominium complex specifically is because more than 50% of the complex was actually rented out, or it was a second home. Because we were in an unwarrantable condominium complex, the buyer unfortunately couldn't get a conventional loan, couldn't get an FHA loan, VA loan. So really, you have somebody coming in that's gonna have to pay cash, or they can get what's called a non-QM mortgage, and that's basically a loan that's going to have a higher interest rate because there's more risk that the lender is taking on. It's a different product. So very difficult. Having a higher interest rate in turn is going to lower the price of your property, right? Nobody wants that to happen, and that's what happened in 2022 when interest rates rose and prices came down. So it was very difficult for us to sell this property. So what did we do with the thing? Well, unfortunately, I felt backed into a corner, and my partners did as well, and they were my friends. So it was pretty tough for us to deal with this situation, but we made it through. So we ended up renting the unit out. We got actually a pretty good premium for that property. Probably paid a little more than that girl should have, but so after about a year of having a renter in there, we were able to finally flip the unit, if that's what you want to call it. And we were only in there at about $20,000. It could have been a lot worse, and it was a learning experience for us. But one thing that we did learn, and this is going to be my final thought for you guys, is to check the renter to owner relationship, the ratio in condo complexes, and make sure you don't make the same mistake we did in purchasing in an unwarrantable condo complex. And it didn't pop up. It's something that with experience I should have known, but with getting a hard money loan, it's not something that they research even. So had we gone and got just a conventional loan, then we would have been fine because we would have seen this happen. But please, 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 unless you plan on staying there and, having some issues when you go to sell it, do not purchase in an unwarrantable condominium complex. So after watching this video, you may think that you want to go and purchase a new construction home because, I was kind of leaning towards that. It seems like the logical thing to do. It's what a lot of people are doing. So if that's what you guys are thinking about doing, then you're going to want to watch this video right here, which is basically going to go through some of the new construction mistakes that first-time home buyers or first-time new construction buyers can make. So make sure you watch this video to avoid those mistakes and live in happiness and bliss.